So let's take a look through Google Analytics. When you log in, you'll be taken to this little dashboard on the home screen, and it has a really useful overview of what's been happening on your website. So first of all, here you can see the number of users, and that's the number of people who have visited your website. Then there's the number of sessions, which is a bit like the number of times your site gets visited. Bounce rate is measuring how many people drop off your site immediately, so the lower the bounce rate, the better. Imagine that you're on Google, you search for a website, you've clicked on something, and then you realize the website isn't kind of what you're looking for. If you go back straight away, that's called bouncing, and that's what makes up the bounce rate. Then you've got the session duration, which is how long somebody stays on your site. So the more time they stay on the site, the better. Next, you can see how people actually found your website. They might come to you directly, which is when they type in your URL. There's organic search, which comes from SEO. There's referrals, so that's when another website refers traffic to you. And social media is when they come from a social profile. Next, you can see things like what time they come to your website, which is pretty cool. You can also see where they come from and what device they're using as well. And finally, you can see what pages they visited the most, which is really useful so you know which pages are the most popular. So let's take a look at real time, which is over here. I have only just set this up, so there's not really any data just yet. But if you look at the overview, you'll see who's on your website right now. You can see where they are, because it shows up on this little map. You can see what keywords they've used, what pages they've been to. It's really cool to be able to see what people are doing in real time, but unless you have a busy site, you won't learn all that much from it if you go through all the subsections. So let's move on. Next, you have audience, which is right here. This is where you learn all about who's visiting your site, and you can see if this matches up with the target audience. So here you can have a look at the basic overview. You get to find out if they're new visitors, returning visitors, how many are new users, how many pages they've been on. You can see what language they speak, which is really useful. You can see what country they come from. You can see even what city they come from, which is cool. You can see the browser they're using, so you know what to optimize for. Operating system, same with mobile as well. You can also take a look at the demographics, so you can see how old they are. You can see what their gender is. It's not showing up for me. As I said, I've just set this up. You can also take a look at what the interests are. And for anyone who's interested in multilingual SEO, the geo section is going to be the coolest because you can see what language they speak and what location they're in. So this can give you really good ideas of if, say, you should expand into the German-speaking market because lots of people from Austria and Germany are coming to your website, or you can see if people actually from your target market are looking at you. So let's take a look now at acquisition. So with acquisition, that's how people come to your website. So you can see here if people are coming from direct, if they're coming from organic search, if they're coming from referral, or if they're coming from social. You can take a look down here and you can actually click on different things. So you can see the people who are coming from referral. Sometimes it will show you what website they're actually coming from. So you can see some are coming from Asana, which is what I use for project management, so that's probably why. And then if we go back, let's take a look at social. And here we can see that people, or one person has come from LinkedIn, so that means that LinkedIn's pretty successful. Well, one's not really successful, but if you have more data on your website, then of course you can find out what's successful or not. You can also take a look if you're doing PPC ads. I'm not doing PPC ads, so I don't really have any data there to show you. Finally, you have conversions. Conversions is something that you actually have to set up. So I'm not going to go into that now because it really depends on what type of goals that you want to set. But again, behavior, let's go back to that. So behavior tells you what people are actually doing on your website. You can see how many page views there are, the unique page views, the times, the bounce rate, and when people are exiting. So you can actually see what people are doing and say, let's take a look at the contact page. So you can see here that on the contact page, 66% of people exited on that, which is pretty normal for a contact us page. Say you had one of your home pages and, well, you only have one home page, but if you had another page and you had a really, really high bounce rate, it would tell you that maybe it's you need to give it a bit of an overhaul or something, because people aren't finding what they need. You can see kind of the content drill down, so you can see all the individual details, landing pages, so where people are actually coming to. So one person came to the international SEO training, one person came to the SEO for small business, but most people go to the home page and then the exit pages as well. I'll be honest, my website is really new and really small, so it's not that interesting. But if your website has been around for longer and you've got more data, then you can actually get a really good idea of what people are doing on your website. The features that they have here really allow you to paint a picture of your visitors and what they're up to on your site. So when it comes to SEO, when it comes to your online marketing, make sure that you're using this data because it's really, really useful.